The Lost Leader by Robert Browning. Just for a handful of silver he left us, just for a riband to stick in his coat. Found the one gift of which fortune bereft us, lost all the others she lets us devote. They, with the gold to give, doled him out silver. So much was theirs, who so little allowed. How all our copper had gone for his service. Rags, were they purple? His heart had been proud. We that had loved him so, followed him, honoured him, lived in his mild and magnificent eye, learned his great language, caught the clear accents, made him our pattern to live and to die. Shakespeare was of us, Milton was for us, Burns, Shelley were with us. They watch from their graves. He alone breaks from the van and the free men. He alone sinks to the rear and the slaves. We shall march prospering, not through his presence. Songs may inspirit us, not from his lyre. Deeds will be done while he boasts his quiescence, still bidding crouch whom the rest bade aspire. Blot out his name then, record one lost soul more, one task more declined, one more footpath untrod, one more devil's triumph and sorrow for angels, one more wrong to man, one more insult to God. Life's night begins. Let him never come back to us. There would be doubt, hesitation and pain, forced praise on our part, the glimmer of twilight, never glad, confident morning again. Best fight on well, for we taught him, strike gallantly, menace our heart ere we master his own. Then let him receive the new knowledge and wait us, pardoned in heaven, the first by the throne. Incident of the French Camp by Robert Browning. You know, we French stormed Ratisbon. A mile or so away, on a little mound, Napoleon stood on our storming day, with neck out thrust, you fancy how, legs wide, arms locked behind, as if to balance the prone brow oppressive with its mind. Just as perhaps he mused, my plans that soar to earth may fall. Let once my army leader land waver at yonder wall. Out twixt the battery smokes there flew a rider, bound on bound, full galloping, nor bridle drew until he reached the mound. Then off there flung in smiling joy, and held himself erect by just his horse's mane, a boy. You hardly could suspect, so tight he kept his lips compressed, scarce any blood came through. You looked twice ere you saw his breast was all but shot in two. Well, cried he, Emperor, by God's grace, we've got you, Ratisbon. The marshal's in the marketplace, and you'll be there anon to see your flag bird flap his vans where I, to heart's desire, perched him. The chief's eye flashed. His plan soared up again like fire. The chief's eye flashed, but presently softened itself, as sheathes a film the mother eagle's eye when her bruised eaglet breathes. You're wounded? Nay. The soldier's pride touched to the quick, he said, I'm killed, sire. And his chief beside, smiling, the boy fell dead.
Robert Browning, any wife to any husband. My love, this is the bitterest, that thou, who art all truth, and who dost love me now, as thine eyes say, as thy voice breaks to say, shouldst love so truly, and couldst love me still a whole long life through, had but love its will, would death that leads me from thee brook delay. I have but to be by thee, and thy hand will never let mine go, nor heart withstand the beating of my heart to reach its place. When shall I look for thee and feel thee gone? When cry for the old comfort and find none? Never, I know, thy soul is in thy face. Oh, I should fade, 'tis willed so. Might I save, gladly I would, whatever beauty gave joy to thy sense, for that was precious too. It is not to be granted, but the soul whence the love comes, all ravage leaves that whole. Vainly the flesh fades, soul makes all things new. It would not be because my eye grew dim, thou couldst not find the love there. Thanks to him who never is dishonored in the spark he gave us from his fire of fires, and bade remember whence it sprang, nor be afraid while that burns on, though all the rest grow dark. See, so, how thou wouldst be perfect, white and clean, outside as inside, soul and soul's demeanour like, this body given to show it by. O 3 parts through the worst of life's abyss, what plaudits from the next world after this couldst thou repeat a stroke and gain the sky? And is it not the bitterer to think that, disengage our hands, and thou wilt sink, although thy love was love in very deed? I know that nature. Pass a festive day, thou dost not throw its relic flower away, nor bid its music's loitering echo speed. Thou lett'st the stranger's glove lie where it fell. If old things remain old things, all is well, for thou art grateful as becomes man best. And hadst thou only heard me play one tune, or viewed me from a window, not so soon with thee would such things fade as with the rest. I seem to see we meet and part. 'Tis brief. The book I opened keeps a folded leaf. The very chair I sat on breaks the rank. That is a portrait of me on the wall. 3 lines, my face comes at so slight a call, and for all this, 1 little hour to thank. But now, because the hour through years was fixed, because our inmost beings met and mixed, because thou once hast loved me, wilt thou dare say to thy soul, and who may list beside, therefore she is immortally my bride, chance cannot change my love, nor time impair. So what if in the dusk of life that's left, I, a tired traveller of my son bereft, look from my path when, mimicking the same, the firefly glimpses past me, come and gone? Where was it till the sun set? Where anon it will be at the sunrise? What's to blame? Is it so helpful to thee? Canst thou take the mimic up, nor, for the true thing's sake, put gently by such efforts at a beam? Is the remainder of the way so long, thou needst the little solace, thou, the strong? Watch out thy watch, let weak ones doze and dream. Ah, but the fresher faces. Is it true, thou'd ask, some eyes are beautiful and new, some hair, how can one choose but grasp such wealth? And if a man would press his lips to lips fresh as the wilding hedgerows cup there slips the dewdrop out of, must it be by stealth? It cannot change the love still kept for her, more than if such a picture I prefer passing a day with to a room's bare side. The painted form takes nothing she possessed. Yet while the Titian's Venus lies at rest, a man looks. Once more, what is there to chide? So must I see, from where I sit and watch, my own self sell myself, my hand attach its warrant to the very thefts from me. Thy singleness of soul that made me proud, thy purity of heart I loved aloud, thy man's truth I was bold to bid God see. Love so then, if thou wilt, give all thou canst away to the new faces. Disentranced, say it and think it, obdurate no more, reissue looks and words from the old mint. Pass them afresh, no matter whose the print image and superscription once they bore. Recoin thyself and give it them to spend. It all comes to the same thing at the end, since mine thou wast, mine art, and mine shall be, faithful or faithless, sealing up the sum or lavish of my treasure. Thou must come back to the heart's place here I keep for thee. Only why should it be with stain at all? Why must I, twixt the leaves of coronal, put any kiss of pardon on thy brow? Why need the other women know so much and talk together? Such the look and such the smile he used to love with, then as now. Might I die last and show thee? Should I find such hardship in the few years left behind, if free to take and light my lamp, and go into thy tomb, and shut the door and sit, seeing thy face on those four sides of it, the better that they are so blank, I know. Why, time was what I wanted, to turn o'er within my mind each look, get more and more by heart each word, too much to learn at first, and join thee all the fitter for the pause neath the low doorway's lintel. That were cause for lingering, though thou calledst, if I durst. And yet thou art the nobler of us two. What dare I dream of that thou canst not do, outstripping my 10 small steps with one stride? I'll say then, here's a trial and a task. Is it to bear? If easy, I'll not ask. Though love fail, I can trust on in thy pride. Pride, when those eyes forestall the life behind, the death I have to go through. When I find, now that I want thy help most, all of thee. What did I fear? Thy love shall hold me fast, until the little minute's sleep is past, and I wake saved. And yet, it will not be.
Home Thoughts from Abroad by Robert Browning. Oh, to be in England now that April's there, and whoever wakes in England sees some morning unaware that the lowest boughs and the brushwood sheaf round the elm tree bole are in tiny leaf, while the chaffinch sings on the orchard bough in England now. And after April, when May follows, and the white-throat bills, and all the swallows, hark, where my blossomed pear-tree in the hedge leans to the field and scatters on the clover blossoms and dewdrops. At the bent spray's edge, that's the wise thrush. He sings each song twice over, lest you should think he never could recapture the first fine careless rapture. And though the fields look rough with hoary dew, all will be gay when noontide wakes anew the buttercups, the little children's dower, far brighter than this gaudy melon flower.
Edward Lear, The Dong with a Luminous Nose. When awful darkness and silence reign over the great Gromboolian plain, through the long, long wintry nights, when the angry breakers roar as they beat on the rocky shore, when storm clouds brood on the towering heights of the hills of the Chankly Bore, then, through the vast and gloomy dark, there moves what seems a fiery spark, a lonely spark with silvery rays piercing the coal-black night, a meteor strange and bright, hither and thither the vision strays, a single lurid light. Slowly it wanders, pauses, creeps. Anon it sparkles, flashes, and leaps, and ever as onward it gleaming goes, a light on the bong tree's stems it throws. And those who watch at that midnight hour, from hall or terrace or lofty tower, cry as the wild light passes along, the dong, the dong, the wandering dong through the forest goes, the dong, the dong, the dong with a luminous nose. Long years ago the dong was happy and gay, till he fell in love with a Jumbly girl who came to those shores one day. For the Jumblies came in a sieve, they did, landing at eve near the Zemery feed, where the oblong oysters grow, and the rocks are smooth and grey, and all the woods and the valleys rang with the chorus they daily and nightly sang. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. Happily, happily passed those days while the cheerful Jumblies stayed. They danced in circlets all night long to the plaintive pipe of the lively dong, in moonlight shine or shade. For day and night he was always there by the side of the Jumbly girl so fair, with her sky-blue hands and her sea-green hair, till the morning came of that hateful day when the Jumblies sailed in their sieve away, and the dong was left on the cruel shore, gazing, gazing for evermore, ever keeping his weary eyes on that pea-green sail on the far horizon, singing the Jumbly chorus still as he sate all day on the grassy hill. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. But when the sun was low in the west, the dong arose and said, "What little sense I once possessed has quite gone out of my head." And since that day he wanders still by lake and forest, marsh and hill, singing, "Oh, somewhere in valley or plain might I find my Jumbly girl again. Forever I'll seek by lake and shore till I find my Jumbly girl once more." Playing a pipe with silvery squeaks, since then his Jumbly girl he seeks. And because by night he could not see, he gathered the bark of the twangum tree on the flowery plain that grows, and he wove him a wondrous nose. A nose as strange as a nose could be, of vast proportions and painted red, and tied with cords to the back of his head. In a hollow rounded space it ended, with a luminous lamp within suspended, all fenced about with a bandage stout, to prevent the wind from blowing it out, and with holes all round to send the light in gleaming rays on the dismal night. And now each night and all night long over those plains still roams the dong, and above the wail of the chimp and snipe you may hear the squeak of his plaintive pipe, while ever he seeks, but seeks in vain, to meet with his Jumbly girl again. Lonely and wild all night he goes, the dong with a luminous nose, and all who watch at the midnight hour, from hall or terrace or lofty tower, cry as they trace the meteor bright, moving along through the dreary night, "This is the hour when forth he goes, the dong with a luminous nose. Yonder over the plain he goes, he goes, he goes, the dong with a luminous nose."
Attributed to Charlotte Bronte. Stanzas. Often rebuked, yet always back returning to those first feelings that were born with me, and leaving busy chase of wealth and learning for idle dreams of things which cannot be. Today I will seek not the shadowy region, its unsustaining vastness waxes drear, and visions rising, legion after legion, bring the unreal world too strangely near. I'll walk, but not in old heroic traces, and not in paths of high morality, and not among the half-distinguished faces, the clouded forms of long past history. I'll walk where my own nature would be leading. It vexes me to choose another guide, where the grey flocks in ferny glens are feeding, where the wild wind blows on the mountainside. What have these lonely mountains worth revealing? More glory and more grief than I can tell. The earth that wakes one human heart to feeling can centre both the worlds of heaven and hell. Emily Bronte, Remembrance. Cold in the earth, and the deep snow piled above thee, far, far removed, cold in the dreary grave. Have I forgot my only love, to love thee, severed at last by time's all-severing wave? Now, when alone, do my thoughts no longer hover over the mountains on that northern shore, resting their wings where heath and fern leaves cover thy noble heart, for ever, evermore. Cold in the earth, and 15 wild Decembers from those brown hills have melted into spring. Faithful indeed is the spirit that remembers after such years of change and suffering. Sweet love of youth, forgive, if I forget thee while the world's tide is bearing me along. Other desires and other hopes beset me, hopes which obscure, but cannot do thee wrong. No later light has lightened up my heaven, no second morn has ever shone for me. All my life's bliss from thy dear life was given, all my life's bliss is in the grave with thee. But when the days of golden dreams had perished, and even despair was powerless to destroy, then did I learn how existence could be cherished, strengthened, and fed without the aid of joy. Then did I check the tears of useless passion, weaned my young soul from yearning after thine, sternly denied its burning wish to hasten down to that tomb already more than mine. And even yet I dare not let it languish, dare not indulge in memory's rapturous pain. Once drinking deep of that divinest anguish, how could I seek the empty world again? Emily Bronte, The Prisoner. Still let my tyrants know, I am not doomed to wear year after year in gloom and desolate despair. A messenger of hope comes every night to me, and offers for short life eternal liberty. He comes with western winds, with evening's wandering airs, with that clear dusk of heaven that brings the thickest stars. Winds take a pensive tone, and stars a tender fire, and visions rise and change that kill me with desire. Desire for nothing known in my maturer years, when joy grew mad with awe at counting future tears, when, if my spirit's sky was full of flashes warm, I knew not whence they came, from sun or thunderstorm. But first a hush of peace, a soundless calm descends. The struggle of distress and fierce impatience ends. Mute music soothes my breast, unuttered harmony, that I could never dream till earth was lost to me. Then dawns the invisible, the unseen its truth reveals. My outward sense is gone, my inward essence feels. Its wings are almost free, its home, its harbor found. Measuring the gulf, it stoops and dares the final bound. Oh, dreadful is the check, intense the agony, when the ear begins to hear and the eye begins to see, when the pulse begins to throb, the brain to think again, the soul to feel the flesh, and the flesh to feel the chain. Yet I would lose no sting, would wish no torture less. The more that anguish racks, the earlier it will bless. And robed in fires of hell, or bright with heavenly shine, if it but herald death, the vision is divine. Emily Bronte. No coward soul is mine, no trembler in the world's storm-troubled sphere. I see heaven's glories shine, and faith shines equal, arming me from fear. O God within my breast, almighty, ever-present deity, life that in me has rest, as I, undying life, have power in thee. Vain are the thousand creeds that move men's hearts, unutterably vain, worthless as withered weeds or idle froth amid the boundless main, to waken doubt in one holding so fast by thine infinity, so surely anchored on the steadfast rock of immortality. With wide embracing love thy spirit animates eternal years, pervades and broods above, changes, sustains, dissolves, creates and rears. Though earth and man were gone, and suns and universes ceased to be, and thou wert left alone, every existence would exist in thee. There is not room for death, nor atom that his might could render void. Thou art being and breath, and what thou art may never be destroyed.